Well, hello and welcome to Sláinte, which is a mini series of events that are leading up to Belfast Whiskey Week. And our first episode is going to be with Brendan Carty from Killowen Distillery. And for those that don't know what we're doing, we're just spending half an hour, 45 minutes, having a chat with distillery owners, blenders, master distillers, maybe some ambassadors. But really, it's just to have a idea of what's going on at those distilleries right now and the lead up to the Belfast Whiskey Week, and to say thank you to those guys who took part last year and those that are going to be taking part this year. So welcome along, Brendan. How are we?
Hi, not too bad. Thanks for having me again. Well, big supporter of the club and big supporter of Belfast Whiskey Week. So.
Oh, listen, that's very kind of you. And listen, look, this is a. I love the glass. Yes, we've got the glass. Listen, we're just gonna. I've got 3 drinks here tonight, so I'm just gonna crack on. I'm gonna have, and I love these. Just love these. Look at these.
Sacks. I've no left.
Class.
We ran short, so I had to give out my own.
Well, listen, I'm just gonna crack on. I've got 3 drinks here tonight, so beautiful bag, and I'm gonna crack on with this, which was the oatmeal. All right. So, massive fan. So this is a 10-year-old oatmeal stout out of the bonded experimental cask series. 51.4%. Smells great.
So, like the rest of them, they're all sold out. So they can't be gotten anymore. Even our own stocks, we didn't have any for ourselves. This is my bottle, which was, you can see it's the dregs of the cask after we do flocking. So there's a lot of filth in there. So I like it like that anyway. So
I'm just noticing mine. Look, this is my personal one as well. Like that. There's some dirt in there, guys.
It's a bit more stylish that bit than. But yeah, again, no filtration, and I don't think mine would be quite marketable. But I actually got a complaint. It's funny, I should put it into some of the groups. I got a few complaints of late about stuff being in the bottles. Really? And you just have to still explain the reason why. But
that's mad, isn't it? Because we're all about. I suppose we're all about getting these fresh out the barrels, cask strengths. Loving the fact that they're blended. We've got a series, and thank you very much, Brendan, for bringing us a series of 7 different blends. Very much consistent in terms of the actual constitution of those blends, but each one of them finished differently. Each one of them given a new lease of life in different barrels. This is one of my favourites. That's why I brought it tonight. I just love that.
It was a good stout.
The nose is just unreal, and I would say the next one's a Hungarian oak. So, but this one's one of my favourites.
It's funny, everyone has their own favourites. The Hungarian oak, I thought it was my favourite. Most people seem to love the rum the best, but then I think third of all, most people are loving this one. But obviously, it's their firsts. So the stout cask came from Mourne Mountains Brewery. We were at Mourne Mountains Brewery in Mourne Point, and they had an oatmeal imperial stout. So it's full-on stout, and that connection with oats and Killowen and our distillate going forward, and trying to bring back the oat in mash bills and putting oat more to the fore, as it was in the past in Irish distillation. So yeah, we just thought we'd tie it in well, and it just worked. It just gave it loads more body, and dried
very
it
out. So it's creamy, Brendan. It's got a creaminess to this one, really creamy, and little hints of coffeeness, that kind of coffee cake sponge, lovely coming through, absolutely great. And listen, I'm going to read some of these comments. I know that some people, when they do these conversations, they don't bother reading. I'm loving it. We've got loads of people in here for the crack tonight. Cassandra, yes, get on the drink. Forget work. Just get on it. You know what I'm talking about, Cassandra. You know what I'm talking about. And Gareth Spence, there's no way you're getting my my stout bottle here. No chance.
Gareth is enough.
But listen, there's a massive demand for your whiskey, and there has been. And what was really nice was the kind of final touches, that Hungarian oak, which I'll crack into in a wee minute. The last one in the series really took off. People got really inspired by it. Like, what? The end of what? End of a series? And some people who hadn't followed the journey, some people who hadn't seen it from the start, the rum cask, which kind of started the whole project, you couldn't really shift off the shelves quickly, which was interesting. It kind of lingered on, and there's been a couple that had sat on the shelves, and all of a sudden it just started to pick up pace. People were like, "All right, I need to try this one." Maybe some people had maybe picked up the tequila cask. Maybe some people had picked up the oatmeal. Went, I need to try the rum. I need to try the Tricalina. I want to go and try the Pinot Noir. I need to go and try all these ones. It kind of drummed up such a frenzy. People really bought into it, and it's difficult, Brendan. I'm about to crack open 2 full sets. So 2 full sets, my own personal sets, are about to get poured for this mini festive week that we have here at Paddy's Week. And I'm gutted in some respects because I love every one of them. And I noticed when I came to those 2 sets, I never had a third set. And I'm just looking at myself going, what have I done? But we've got so many people now going to be tasting that, come March. And it's been, it's a pleasure getting it out there. An absolute pleasure getting the whiskey out so people can drink it,
Opening bottles of Killowen is what it's all about. Fair enough. There's always going to be a few laying about there. But I think opening bottles is something we're going to really try to encourage going forward. So it's a credit to yourself. You've opened bottles for Belfast Whiskey Week, Belfast Whiskey Club, Belfast Whiskey Week in the past. That's what it's all about. Right now, I think the only opportunity people have of getting to taste that Killowen experimental series is through yourself. So hats off to you, Paul. And I think it sold out actually very quickly, didn't it?
Oh my God, it sold out, and it was really embarrassing because it sold out within the matter of a minute, and I wasn't expecting that, and I only put out the first, because as I say, we've got 2 sets. I put out the first set, and it sold out in a minute, and I went, oh my God, I'm going to have to put out the second set quickly as well. Yeah. So again, I put it out, and again, it sold very quickly. But I think what's interesting is, we've built up, the distillery itself has garnered its brand, hasn't it? It's garnered a brand. The Killowen brand, I think, is quite strong. It has its own movement now. So the guys who are now involved in hundreds of people in the Killowen cult, followers, as it were, of the distillery, the enthusiasts of the distillery, that cult movement, people are like going frenzy for everything about it. Really want to know what's going on. The next bottle, the next type of whiskey. They want to taste the new makes. They want to see what's coming from Killowen. And yeah, do you know what? Big crusade that we're going to have on just now is Killowen, and I think it's going to be Killowen openers. I think we're saying if you're part of the cult, and you want to be part of the cult, open your bottles. Let's see what you've got.
Have you noticed that? Yeah.
Yeah,
you've noticed me. I've been trying to say that for a while now.
I think that's what it's about now. It's we've got a lot of people who are really interested, and they're interested for the right reasons because they've tasted it and it tastes superb. They're not in it for the wrong reasons. They're not flippers. They're not people who are just here for the fun or for a name badge or whatever it is. They're here because they're enjoying the spirit. So and as I say, the demand. The demand for this for this little box, even during Easter, during Paddy's Day, it could have doubled, trebled, quadrupled the amount of sales it could have had. There isn't enough liquid. So the onus is on you, Brendan, unfortunately, to really think about what you're going to do in the summer. What's Killowen going to be doing, and what can we do to get the message out there? Lots more liquid around the world. What you managed to achieve last year. And for the amount of attention that you got, from from Belfast Whiskey Week, was huge. We had Killowen boxes going round the world. We definitely had some landing in Australia. So we've got boxes landing in Australia. That halfway, half of Europe got it. So we got bottles of Killowen into Sweden and into Germany. We definitely had it all over the States and into Canada. People were like, we want to taste Killowen, and I know that you've got your own stuff now going to America, which would be great for that market. But here, the festival helped you.
It's only small amounts. It did, yeah. It's only small amounts, but the festival enabled us to get the stuff out there. We always are generous. We're always creating competitions and even sending out samples to random people that we just, we just want them to taste it. And we're putting names in hats and sending it to them. We're just asking them for their addresses. So we are as generous as possible. We don't have enough money for advertising. So liquid on lips is our strategy. We just send it out there. And we're answered back with kindness. The cult that you're talking about is hilarious. I just wanted to chat on it. it wasn't set up by Killowen Distillery. It was set up by the likes of yourself, Ian Garrett in Dublin, Matt Morrison, and Mick. And there's a few other guys. You all set it up together, and it's just as an example. There's also during the process of opening it up, after a number of months, you started the Killowen Cull, which is hilarious. But you rooted out all the baddies who weren't going to open their bottles.
And that exists, that cull. So the cull exists within the cult. If people are not participating, it's not like, and here, we're going to have to say this, it's just not a fan club. It's just not one of these, come and get a badge, think you're smart, think you're cool, think you're part of the pack. No. You're part of the cult. You want to be part of the cult, you have to interact. You have to be part of it. Don't interact. Don't open bottles. Don't drink. Don't share stories. Don't share random pictures of you with your bottles in your shower. I don't know what you're doing, Mick McGuire. But listen, come and get involved. And if you're getting involved, that level of appreciation, that interaction is going to be, you're going to see that continue. You're going to see people, maybe, sending out small samples so you can taste them. Getting involved with the distillery a lot more. That's what we intend to do. So yeah, the cull is real. People, the cull is real. We will just, like lambs to the slaughter, gone. I mean, all of a sudden, gone,
But at the same time, you're allowing new people in, aren't you?
All the time. The time. We've grown. Hundreds of people now. There's just hundreds of people involved, and it's lovely to see. And again, it's people who are not just local to the distillery. It's not just people from Belfast either. It's a lot of people from different countries who are getting involved, who are coming and want to know what's happening. And listen, Brendan, let's talk about this in real terms of, cash. You're not a Glenfarclas. You're not a Macallan. You're not an IDL brand, Redbreast or Jameson. You're not any of that. The money behind those brands is huge. The advertising budget is huge. To pay an influencer, one influencer, £10,000 for 10 seconds of advertising for some of these brands is unreal. What we have going on here is a lot of enthusiastic people who genuinely just want to drink your, whiskey, talk about your whiskey, share the whiskey. I've not seen an advertisement for Killowen. What I have heard though is lots of people talking about Killowen. And that's true. And that's important. That it's a lot of people chatting about it, which is really nice. It's touching.
The way we used to set it up was myself, Shane McCarthy, Liam Brogan, smashing our heads together saying we are whiskey drinkers and we're going to make whiskey for whiskey drinkers. So we don't have to do market research to tap into the market. We just have to make whiskey for ourselves, and that's brilliant. That's there's no secret to it. So what do we want to drink? Let's make it with what tools are available. People can identify with that. We're not driving around fancy cars. In fact, once I get my banger back on the road, I'll be able to. Do you know what I mean? But I think there's just a connection. People can identify with.
Is the brewer still broken? Is it?
The Bora was a few years back. It's the Passat now. Yeah, it's.
Passat. Sorry.
It's going up. It's going up on Thursday to see if it's worth fixing or not. So.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm going to crack on my second drink just because it's here, and I think we should be drinking, while we're chatting. And why not? So I'm on to the Hungarian. So the last in the series, the Hungarian oak.
I think this was my favourite.
Do you know what? I think it's been a lot of people's favourite. Very, 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 very scarce on the shelves when it came out because everyone was just hyped.
Shit bonkers.
When got it.
Everybody, a lot of people who are in the whiskey world, producers, and even people who've been drinking for a long time, and people who sell and are interactive. It doesn't matter if you don't know him, but the guy, there's a nut job called Zoltan. And Zoltan is from Hungary. He spent a long time in Ireland. He lived in Wicklow for a while, building houses. Zoltan sourced this cask for us. It's a beautiful cask, absolutely beautiful, and it's different from the Limousin wood that you would get from France, for instance. That Cork and Super, it's different from that. There's this Hungarian oak, which Fionn O'Connor was saying is actually more in tune with what Irish oak is, and it's an absolute explosion of clove rather than a lot less of that white pepper you get out of the French oak, for instance.
Super amount of spice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Super amount of spice on those. Really, really makes you just want to delve into it very quickly. It's a very unusual nose, unless you've had Hungarian oak finishes with other whiskey. But this kind of sets itself apart, even from, and look, I don't mind name dropping, but Meth and Madness, Hungarian Oak, do not compare. You cannot compare. This is beastly. This is a.
We went to town on this finish. We thought, it was finished, and we thought, you know what, fuck it, we're going to leave it. We're just going to leave it till it's borderline overdone. Maybe it is overdone for some people, but for me, that's what I want. I want people. It's the whole point of the experimental series. You want to see what wood does.
Yes.
Like the Virgin Acacia done what it done, but then that was European wood, and then this is Hungarian oak, and the two are just so different.
No.
Virgin wood as well.
Lots of people just chatting in here, just talking about it. Reminds me a little bit of the Glendalough Mizunura. Hungarian oak was a real surprise. Didn't think it would be better, in his opinion, than the dark rum, Richard. Yep, and it ended up for some being better. We've got some cheeky people here saying, look, David Parker saying, look, I'll influence for you for payments in liquid. Love it.
Good man, David.
But you know what, David? You are influencing already, even by talking about it, so that's dead on. And you know, no doubt you have some there to drink. Listen, we've got need some Gloria. The Gloria. It's a bad word, isn't it? The Gloria is a bad word. Whoever said Gloria there? Gloria's a bad word.
That was the cask aged coffee liqueur that was prematurely. A couple of cases were released from the warehouse and they disappeared fast. So we need to get that out. We've got this lovely coffee liqueur sitting in casks, and we need to get it out. It's just logistical error with labeling and things like that. We need to get that out. Sorry about
that. Of course, but here, you know, for those that aren't, you know, au fait with what's going on already. So Brendan, down at Killowen, let's just run through a couple of things. Historically, let's run through a couple of things. You know, first of all, we've got the Potchin, and we've got the gin. We've got the bonded experimental. Yeah, so we've got these things are there. You know, we've got those things. We've then got little spritzers. How do we talk about them? Cans of fun.
Yeah, spritzers. Yeah, so those are fun. Yeah, basically they're 5%, so you can't even taste alcohol out of them. But we seen that they were coming onto the market, you know, and we were thinking we can do this.
You could.
So we just did, and it proved it was a bit of a trick for us to try and get them done, and we got them done, and we got them out there before it became popular. I still don't think they're popular here in this country, but they're out there.
They are good. They are good. They're good fun. And then we've got the rum. We've got the actual rum. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
it's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, do you know what? Probably one of the best rums. I'm a rum drinker. I mean, people who know me know that I like to do rum tastings and have a bit of crack with the rum. Love it. But actually, such a good rum. And
it's banging.
It's banging. But for it to be made here in this country, it's just lethal. In my head, I'm like, rum from County Down.
There's not enough molasses. There's not enough molasses in rum, in my opinion, nowadays. There's a lot more sugar, a lot less molasses. And most rum now has been put through a column still. So it's coming out, you know, when it's blended with a bit of pot still rum.
Yeah.
You could full on pot still rum. It's just full of tropical notes and heavy molasses notes. And we know it's 2-3 week fermentation periods with us. And it comes out manky and fruity, bananas, pineapples. Those flavours are coming out of it. When you put that through a still with a thumper keg attached to it, we do. We're trying to get geeky here, talking about distillation.
No, this is good.
And then we put it through. We knew we wanted to release it quick, so we cheated. We put it into small casks, you know, Solera casks, and rushed it through the Solera system in small casks at high strength, and it was aged very quickly, and then finished in PX sherry casks.
Yeah, most of the rum. Let's be honest. Most of the rum that we see on our shelves, in our bars, you know, is just sugar, cane sugar. Lots of sugar and I'll add a little bit of colour in here or there. But it's like, but what I've noticed is those bottles, those products that are on the shelves, that's what people have become accustomed to. They're not used to good tasting, full-bodied rums. Do you know what I mean? And that's what you have there. And I need to see more of that. That needs to keep coming.
Well, there's a release of it coming this year that's aged in a bonkers cask that people really wouldn't expect rum to be in, and it's unbelievably, it works. I'm like, how has nobody done this before? Why has nobody in these islands of England and Scotland and Ireland ever done this before? And it baffles me because all the tools are at our disposal and we haven't done it yet, and it works perfectly. It's the perfect pairing.
See,
So yeah, get a cask of it out. The last time was 100 bottles. This time there's only going to be about 250, 300, unfortunately.
See, that's.
But we'll have to save some for Belfast Whiskey Week in the summer. So we'll do that.
Tell me this: what batch are we on in terms of the potching? Where are we? The normal potching, the potching that comes out with that beautiful copper label. What batch are you on?
We done big batches of it, so likely on 3, maybe 4, because we're going to ship one batch to the States, all being well.
Great news.
So, yeah, the potching is banging. Potching is. Oh, talking about potching, Paul. We've obviously got our core potching. Yeah, you've got a sample of that, and so this doesn't exist yet. So this potching, we're only. So right, let's talk about this. This is a sneak review. So we're going to put this out there. There's the label. I can't show you the label of it, but
I don't have the label, which is brilliant.
Absolutely, you don't have the label. So we're selling it potching out in a set of 5 bottles, and unfortunately, because there's 5 bottles of each, we're only able to make 180 sets of it. And we sell them out in a set. Every single bottle represents a different part of the island, and we're tapping in with the brewing industry here as well. So
brilliant.
You're only allowed to age potching in a cask for 10 weeks. And unfortunately, the Gab Shades who wrote the technical file, it made sure that you included ludicrous terms, more ludicrous than those stupid terms in the whiskey technical file, such as you're not allowed to use the word cask. So that protectionist mentality has come in there again. You're allowed to say wood rested. So this has been wood rested for 10 weeks, each one of them, in a specific cask that represents a different part of the island. And pairing with amazing breweries around the country. This thing for me,
you've gone for the 4. You've got for the 4. Mary, the 4 provinces, but a mythical province.
Well, being to Keynsham, the Cougar, in Ireland. So there's actually 5 provinces in Ireland, and originally, and they used to be known as Cougar, which is the Irish for 5, and so that's the idea. So it's something that's tapping in there. The word for province in Irish is the same word for fifth. So there used to be fifths instead of provinces. So nowadays there's 4 provinces, but they're still known as 4 fifths. Which is bonkers. So there used to be a 5th one. So we're tapping into that part of the island as well, which is interesting. So it's just a nice way of tapping into the lore of potching and the lore of place. That connection I think is very important.
So the one I have just now, the one I am nosing right now, which is non-labelled. I mean, it's literally just a wee jerry can. I'm going to go and put this in my wee 125 or I'm going to put it in my go-kart later.
Your stroke oil, yeah.
That's my stroke oil base. That's it. All right, I'm on this.
Oh dear.
But here it smells unbelievable.
That's great.
Do you know what? People need potching in their life, and I really do mean that. Like I remember when potching, like you would get potching, you go down your wee local bar, and some wee man. It was always a wee man, not to be sexist, but he was always an old wee fella, probably in his 70s, and his brown coat on, just sitting there with his wee hat on, didn't say a word all night, didn't go to the bar once, never bought a drink in his life. Sit there, bottle out, into the glass, sitting away, and you'd be like, here, give us a wee drink of that, and he'd just pour you a drink, no label on it, no nothing. The boys, made it himself, brought it down the hill, and here, that was potching. And then potching tried to go into a bottle, and it was just white liquid at crazy strength and not great tasting. This, my friend.
Potching's coming a long way, but this is singing centuries of heritage. This is singing pot still mash bills. This mash bill isn't the same as our own mash bill. In fact, I think we might have pushed the oat a little bit too much in this, but it's still bang and it's still fantastic. There's extra oat in there. Obviously, when you get these bottles, all the information will be in the label, the mash bills and things like that. But this is about putting potching on a pedestal. Literally, we're going to be doing that.
Yeah,
potching deserves an pedestal, so
it does. It does indeed. And we've got
You're
a guy.
getting 5 small bottles.
We've got Dave down in 1661, bar 1661. Yeah. Dave
Unreal.
has been working very hard for years, pushing, poaching. And do you know what? People, when they get the chance, and if they get the chance to buy the plinth, beautiful presentation plinth, these beautiful little bottles, yeah, 250 mils, yeah, 250 mil.
I can't believe you're giving it all away here.
Labeled up. I don't know what those labels look like. Labeled up, but here. But if they're able to purchase that, they're gonna be. I tell you what, they're in for a treat.
It's going to be hard to get people to open them. That's the trick.
I don't care. No, they must open them. People must. You must. Because.
And if they don't, they get punished, and we're going to track them down this time.
We're punishing
the thing about this Craic range is, right, this was meant to be a distillery exclusive. So you came to the distillery and you bought it and took it away with you. So that's what the idea was. But we were holding it off, and then the COVID is never ending at the moment. So we have to sell it. Yeah. So when we sell it, how do we do that? So
we're not.
Yeah. We're working up a mini online shop that's going to be working in tandem, so it still is the distillery exclusive. At the same time, our beloved business partners, will still be getting, like Irish Malts, Anzac Wholesale, Celtic Whiskey Shop will still be getting, a small allocation each if they so wish. But this is a distillery exclusive, so it's going to be sold through ourselves.
And that's very important because I think you're realising, look, people are being smart about this now. This coronavirus, people are starting to click on. I had a conversation earlier on today, a very, very smart conversation today. I went to a tasting this time last year, just about a week past, and I didn't shake anyone's hand at the tasting. And people were looking at me going, you're a weirdo. I had my gloves with me, I had my mask and stuff. People were going, you're a weirdo. And I was like, no, listen, you don't know how serious this is going to be. They're like, you're talking shite, wee lad. But here today, the conversation was very interesting. That same, one of the same people was like, listen, spot on. And if we're going to be smart about it, we need to be thinking longer term here. And I think that, your business needs to survive, Brendan. The business needs to survive. Expecting people to come to the distillery anytime soon is not going to happen. Even looking at the summertime is tough here in Northern Ireland. It looks tough. It looks tough in the whole of Ireland, to be frank. So I think that people need to have a bit of realisation. Also, that's good that you've done that as a business. But
plus the pubs are closed.
Oh my God, yeah. Listen, it's desperate. It's absolutely desperate. But getting the liquid out there and keeping your business going, that's good for us as well, because we want that and we want to be able to support you. Everyone I'm, no doubt I'm talking to in the next, couple of weeks is going to be saying the same. The amount of people that I've, talked to and they're like, we've had to change our business model. We cannot specifically rely on a bar trade at the moment. That's just not happening. Off sales, yeah, to a point. Do you know what I mean? But we're talking about, getting the liquid out to people, making sure people are opening it, sharing it, talking about it, because that's the only way we're going to keep it rolling and we're going to keep it moving, So people are asking, where do they get it? They're going to get it. There's going to be a couple of off sales that are going to get it. The rest of it's going to be online through your own shop, and that's that's pretty cool. And that's going to be that's going to be your partners that are going to be helping you support and doing that. Really impressed. We're just waiting. I believe we're just waiting on Johnny.
Where are you going to get it? The majority of it's going to the Killowen Cult. First of all, they're getting. Well, they're getting a large proportion of it.
All those guys in the cult, totally.
Yeah, and then the rest of people can, but they aren't allowed then to try and get the stuff in public. Yeah.
Tell me this. I know that you're not going to give much away about what's in this, but here, there's something that is outstanding. Like, it's not a whiskey, but it could be a whiskey.
Yeah, it's definitely not a whiskey, but it's on the way, and that peak in there as well, and that oiliness that comes from the oats, and then that little bit of rye in there as well. Those mixed mash bills, it's just a celebration. In fairness, I don't think it's just as good as our whiskey mash bill, but it's still brilliant. It's just what we've noticed here is whenever because we've really increased the oat content in this one, it's amazing. It was a great experiment. Decreased the yield, but it lets you know what oats. If anybody wants to know what oats do in whiskey, or what oats do in mash bills, this is what you want to do. It used to be, for me, it used to be all about texture. It used to be all about oil and creaminess, and it still is about that.
Yeah.
But now there's this herbal note that comes with it as well, like a mild herb, not like not like kale or anything like that. You know, not like eating
No.
hedges. It's something much more mellow.
But
And
funnily
it's
enough,
more,
I was worried. I mean, sometimes when you get that, as I say, the poaching off your wee man in the bar, when he's giving you that, you just neck it. You don't be sipping on it. You don't be tasting it for ages. You neck it because you know it's rocket fuel, and you're down in it, and you're going, take me to the bar. Take me to the bar. But this, I mean, we can sit here and we can sip this all night. This is
you
for
really
sipping.
can.
This
You
is
really
for
can.
sipping. This is for sipping.
And you can sit and admire the imagery on the label, and then you can turn around. You can read about the mash bill. You can read about the part of the island that it came from, and you can read about the liquid. It's got a very high percentage. It's just, for me, they're all beautifully wax dipped, small bottles, lovely labels. And I'm not going to lie, that this style of labeling we'll never do again because they would not stick on. We wasted so many labels. They were a nightmare to stick on. They kept wanting to crease. There wasn't any room for error because of the size of the label on the bottle. Wax dipping them, writing on every label, writing down,
Unreal.
the
That's
number of every
dedication.
label.
That's dedication. That wax
It
dipping,
is.
writing on the label.
And we saved a certain amount of litres of every single cask for Belfast Whiskey Week in the summertime. So that's good to know. That's the
good to
reason.
know.
So outside of that, there's none left.
I was going to say.
We're thinking about Belfast Whiskey Week now. We're thinking about it now. What are we going to do for Belfast Whiskey Week? Last year we threw the kitchen sink at it. We're like, right, nothing left. So
I want to recap on the two festivals you've been involved in. So you were involved in 2019 Belfast Whiskey Week. That was your first festival. It was your first, involvement.
Right.
And it was really interesting. I remember the tasting upstairs, Duke of York, and it was all about your new make spirit. It was about the new make spirit. It was about the gin, and it was about the poaching, the original poaching. Yeah.
It was on about this. And then, you guys got to taste our peated pot stuff. We told you about our reactions to the corruption of the GI at the minute and all of that. And people were all ears, basically carrying on that. A lot of knowledge I gathered myself, a lot of knowledge I gathered from Fionn O'Connor, without doubt. And when I attended his tastings of a Tuesday night in Dublin. And that was before Zoom. We were getting the buses up and down, coming up here, missing my stop, ending up in Belfast, things like that. Coming back from your tasting, missing my stop, ending up in Dundalk.
That's the way to do it.
Dedication.
2020, you guys did go all out, but it's not just that. You had a hell of a lot of people involved in your tastings, so much so that you sold out twice. So you sold out 2 tastings. We were expecting Killowen to have 1 tasting. It went big. And we ended up doing a second tasting, and it was just great. You know what I mean? So I'm excited what you can do this year. I'm excited for what's available and what's coming. I mean, you have lots of, I suppose your whiskey is progressing. That's important. To me, it's important that the whiskey is progressing. Yeah.
The thing is, Paul, we sold out 3 times last year. You've done a third tasting.
Oh, sorry, I did. The director's cut.
I'm just trying to fit it out there.
The director's cut. Yes, you did. The third. Sorry, it was a wee. Hold on. Listen, what I would say is we were very lucky because you guys, specifically helped facilitate the Belfast Whiskey Week, festival bottle. And that was great, and we managed to get that into some of those tastings. Am I right in saying 100% that there's going to be a Killowen festival bottle this year?
Yeah, there'll have to be something. What do we do?
So there has to be. And I think that it's all about supporting the distillery at this point. Do you know what I mean? So listen, we're looking forward to that. Looking forward to something special coming from.
There's going to be something special, and it has to be top notch. It has to tell a good story. It has to.
Exactly. Proper excited about that. We've got Dave Cummins. Good to see you too. Yes, hello. Absolutely brilliant. Sinead, yes, loving the chat as well. Listen, the caption's great because we can't see it when we're doing this conversation.
I can't see. Are you on your phone? Who is it? Sinead Watson, is it?
Yeah, apparently, I think when you're on watching it via Facebook or something, they actually give you subtitles. So I know
And it
for a
comes up
fact.
like German when they read your accent.
I was going to
It's
say subtitles from Scots is really, really bad. Like naked potching. I'm all for naked potching. That's 100% vanilla. Naked potching.
exactly.
You're vanilla. Good luck. Good luck. No, I mean, yes, excellent. So listen, just another couple of wee things about the distillery itself. Tell me a little bit about production. Where are we in terms of the actual liquid? How old are we now? How old is this liquid?
It's over 2 years old, so it's or 2 years old, we'll say. So
Super.
not a year to go, and we've got some lovely stuff there. We realized after a while we weren't laying down enough of our core product because we sold a couple of casks. There's a lot of people looking for casks, but unfortunately there's a big backlog. And we realized that our core product, and we were experimenting a huge amount as well. So we got loads of experiments going on, and then not enough of our core mash bill, which we think is just groundbreaking. And it just so happens to be very close to what all of the Irish distilleries were doing. So we stumbled across this by mistake through experimentation. And then when you talk to the, geniuses like Fanon working on all of these old mash bills, for instance, it turns out that they're very similar to what was done. And that was the status quo at the time. And I'm wondering why. But I'll tell you this one thing. It's a lot cheaper to make whiskey the way pot still is made today than it was to make it the old way.
Yes.
So that's something to keep in mind as well. Maybe that's a reason why it changed a lot as well. I'm not trying to take away from any of these amazing pot stills we have today because they are amazing. But why settle? Why settle?
There's not a bad potching. There's not a bad potching coming out of Ideal. Let's just be frank. It's not a bad potching. Sorry, potching pot still.
Pot still, yeah.
Without doubt. With this potching.
But yeah, I hear you. It's one's the other one's daddy, so not too far wrong. But that's true, and that's what Irish. It's a part of who we are. It's for those mixed mash bills. So let's just experiment a little bit more and open it up. And there's a lot of work going on in the background. There's other distilleries, Blackwater as well, at the forefront of this grain research. Bowan now with Fanon's stuff, and that tide's changing. Fantastic! Can't wait. What's going on at Killowen? Sorry, but we're doing one cask a week. We tried to increase that to a cask and a half, but it's just too expensive to be going through that much grain. Maybe next year when we start selling our own product, we'll go up to a cask and a half a week again. But yeah, so at the minute we're getting a cask a week while we're in production, and lovely stuff.
People are giving you names for this bottle for the for the whiskey festival. They're giving you names for it.
Go ahead.
Tears of and the Whiskey Dreamer. Yep, there you go.
Whiskey Dreamer.
Yeah, listen, Dave, that's a good listen. I think there's a lot to be said by people giving ideas to Brendan. Brendan is one of the only people I know that truly takes upon people's opinions and makes them, but you do. I mean, you listen to a lot of people. There's a lot of people around you. You've got Liam and Shane. You've got Jesus
Pierce.
Christ. Oh, sorry, Pierce. Oh my
Pierce,
God, yeah. Pierce. He has got.
You better listen to Pierce.
He's got mad ideas, doesn't he? Love his ideas. In fact, I'm looking forward to some of his ideas. Coming to fruition. Mm-hmm.
He got the Distillery Manager of the Year.
Nice. Oh my God, I was about to say, is he not like famous now? You can't even afford him. He's got an award. That's it. Gone.
He did. He found out who was giving the awards and just said a quiet word.
He's gonna be headhunted for what do you call that big massive distillery up the road? Hinch.
Probably will. That'll be him gone. Jimmy and Aaron will steal him off me.
Tears of an association. Oh, Jesus. Listen, Brendan's toeing the line tonight. He's doing really well. He's got him. He's keeping himself above board. Listen, in terms of the festival, I mean, obviously, look, we're going to be trying as much as we can to try and have physical events. Now, we're going to be pushed backwards and forwards by different policies that are coming out here in terms of what can be done restriction wise. But look, what we have is a promise, to get the events out as much as possible. So we're going to be doing all of the Killowen tastings will be provided or broadcast live. So during the festival, all of Killowen's tastings, doesn't matter if it's physical or not physical, will be broadcast live, so everyone can take part. We're going to make sure that that's the case. Keep it, as available as possible. But yeah, it would be nice, and I was praying that we'd have the ability in the summertime to get people down to the distillery. Part of the festival was this idea of taking people from Belfast, from the festival itself, driving down to Killowen and having a bit of a tour of the distillery. And I think that if we can, we'd love to see that happen. But we should guarantee this, shouldn't we, Brendan, that we are, over the next couple of years, you're going to see that happen. People are going to return to the distillery. People are going to be down there. They're going to have to get in to that very the smallest distillery. Is it still the smallest distillery on the island?
I think so. A lot of people are claiming there. Maybe they are, but who cares? It's good to see a few more.
It'll be great to get people in there. And do you know what? Social distancing, it's probably not the easiest right now. You're not going to get 100 people 2 meters apart. It ain't happening.
We get in the good days we were getting Kayleys in there. And people
exactly.
Craic is 90, and you know what? Sometimes we will, and we are going to do a question and answer session if there's some time. We want to invite people up as VIPs. If they come, we'd be delighted to have them.
Wow.
And we'll launch a competition as well and get people up. We'll do what we normally do. That we've a piper who lives in the road. He's a phenomenal Inland piper, Danny McGreevy. Let him play his tunes, and
Do you know what we're looking for, Brendan? We're looking for the poster boy and the poster girl of Killowen. Do you know, like all these big brands, they always have these one face that you kind of who have got David Beckham for Hague.
Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds out there doing something with his gin.
Yeah,
he's now
definitely.
I would love to see people who really support Killowen coming on board and saying, do you know what? I want to be that poster boy and poster girl. I want to be the.
Do you know what?
The face of it.
Yeah.
I think
in fact,
class, wouldn't it?
You said, kind of are looking to that stage now. I think if we.
Well, you don't. I mean,
good things might happen this year. We might be able to afford another member of staff, and we are looking for somebody. And when we take somebody into the family, that would be it.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brendan, you do everything yourself. I mean, I've seen you do this. You've created the mash, you've done the mash, you've barreled it. You bottled it, labelled it, waxed it, penned it. You've sold it. You've gone out there and done that distribution network. You've driven all over the country. You've done it all. There's not one part of the distillery you haven't done. Everything, cleaning, maintenance,
I know.
Everything.
I do put a hand in everything. I really do. But we've got Pierce Carr, Hugh Feenan on the floor with me, and Pierce, they're doing records as well. We still have to unmuck in, and then Liam and Shane, with a lot of brains behind it. As well, Liam and Brogan and Shane McCarthy, they own Ironcraft Beverages. They also own Two Stacks, so you can see the level of creativity and just genius behind the guys. So it's good. So even if the guys are busy and something happens and fall down, they're always there to pick you up, and then we run on together again and bouncing ideas off each other. And not just that level of expertise when it comes to finances that Liam and Shane have as their second nature. So it is I can't accept responsibility or credit for everything because it's such a solid team.
What I'm saying is, I don't know another distillery. There probably is, and there's going to be, but someone to do all of that. Yeah. Usually Jimmy owns the distillery and pays Michael to do the mixing, pays Sonia to do the bottling, and pays Jessica and David to go out there and sell it. But that's not been happening. And what is interesting is I actually think that Two Stacks malarkey stole your idea of Killowen in a can. Killowen in a can became Dram in a can. They stole it.
Rings now. I think you're just looking for the right.
Killowen in a can with a K. You see what I'm done there. Listen, we're going to wrap it up. I wanted to do 45 minutes a session. Listen, I could have, I couldn't have got ready at 30 minutes, but I'm going to get ready at 45 minutes. I want to say thank you for you coming on, Brendan.
Thank you.
And listen, it's not you're going to be back on later on in the year, and we're going to see you, during Paddy's week for the Killowen box set, and we'll talk about that. I'm really looking forward to it. But listen, genuinely, Brendan, have a lovely evening. Thanks for joining me. All right, and we'll get speaking soon. Yes.
No bother. Looking forward to getting the next 10 of these into the house.
10 of them. Listen, can I just say something? There's going to be the design of those boxes is unreal, and again, we've actually streamlined it slightly, but it's still the same quality, but looking the part. So listen, Sláinte, to the very end of our episode 1 of the series, Sláinte. Thank you very much.
Sláinte.
Right. Good night, and good night to everyone else. Sláinte.